Welcome to Let's Talk Books Unscripted. Episode 9. That's refreshing. What are we drinking tonight?
We're having good old H2O. His over ice in a glass, and I've got my Stanley.
This is water on the rocks.
With lots of fun stickers on it.
We're hydrating tonight.
Look at, here's our, where is it?
Where's the book sandwich sticker?
There it is.
If you haven't gotten a book sandwich sticker yet, make sure you do.
Yeah, so we got that on there. We got some cool Geneva Rose stickers on the bottom. We talk about her a lot. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I like my very covered Stanley. Lots of space because it's giant.
Like I said, this is episode 9 of our series we're doing, Husband and Wife Who Love to Read. Mm-hmm. This is unscripted, unedited. What you see, what you hear, that's what you get. Mm-hmm. Today we're doing something a little different. We're going to talk about, I think we each have 4 books. Mm-hmm. 4 books from the last few months that we really liked. Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about some of the books we really liked in the last 4 months. Mm-hmm. We don't have much to update on our current reading, so we just did an episode 2 days ago.
Yeah.
So we'll try this out today and see how it goes.
Yeah.
Why don't you start?
So, well, I'm gonna start with like the one that I read like furthest from right now. So I read this in February. We've talked about this book a lot. Home is Where the Bodies Are, but we loved it so much, so we can't stop talking about it. And I wanted to show this particular edition from Barnes & Noble. It's like, comes in this really cool sleeve. Watch this. It's like a, VHS tape. Well, and obviously the book itself looks like that. We've shown it before. But what's really cool about this one is it doesn't even have a dust jacket. It's just it's just the book. Like, it's this really nice hardcover book. And then it has these really cool pictures at the end. Geneva went back to like her hometown, which is where this book takes place, and like wrote like little blurbs like by certain certain spots in her hometown,
because this place takes place in her hometown.
Yeah, so
in
just
Wisconsin.
Kind of made it like more personalized at the back of the book, so I knew I wanted this edition especially, and we have a few of them.
We have
4
we
total.
did give one of them away, but we do have 4.
We have 4 otherwise, and they are going to be kept.
I'll show mine quick while we're talking about this book. We
both
both like this book, but I wanted to show you
Why can't I get back
the inside of mine. It says it was personalized to me, Corey, from Geneva Rose. So that was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, you love a book if you feel compelled to have multiple editions. So. Here we go. Here's 2 out of our 4.
We do have one that has red sprayed edges too. That was the Walmart special edition, and it's got like a bloody handprint over it, which is pretty cool and spooky.
So yeah, this is a book. This is a book I'll talk about for a very, very long time. An excellent thriller. I read this early in the year. Yeah, February for me, and you read it more recently.
Definitely, this is a definite read, I think.
Yeah.
Especially if you haven't read any of her books yet. This would be a great one to start with. Mm-hmm. It's just got everything going for it. It's spooky, it's thrilling, it's twisty, and it's fairly short, just under 300 pages. But I think everyone's got to read this book for sure. And Geneva and her husband are hilarious.
Yeah, you got to follow them on social media.
Check them out on social media. And her husband's actually from the same city we are from, so that was cool. When we met them. To talk about that, we all said the city when we smiled for our picture.
Yeah, I think she was like, "Say Appleton." So yeah, it was kind of fun. Did you want to do one next or me next again?
Yeah, you jump in.
Okay, sure. So let's see, what do we got here? Happy Place by Emily Henry. I would talk about her newest book, but I still can talk about it, but I don't have it to show you because my sister-in-law is borrowing it right now. We were talking right before we started recording that we're like, we gotta stop lending out our books because we want to talk about them.
We're missing like 3 books.
I would say, or 3 that I can think of right now that are like on loan to people that I would have loved to talk about.
One of like the blessings and curses of having so many books is that people want to borrow them.
Which is great.
So like we make sure that we stamp our books, that we own them.
Yeah, this one.
But then
Got my nice little stamp.
Now we're
on the
realizing
side
we
there.
need a couple of our books to show, and we
Mhm.
don't have them. So,
But we digress. I will talk about Happy Place, which I also love by Emily Henry. So you'll have to tell me in the comments if you do this too. But I'm a crazy person, and when I'm like looking forward to a book coming out, I feel like I need to get it right away, like on pub day or like very close to pub day. So what I did was went and got this at one of our local indie bookstores. And did I read it right away? No, I did not. So this released last August, and I did not read it until February of this year. And it felt weird to read it in February because I'm such a mood reader, and this is like total beach vibes. So if you need a summer recommendation, by the way, this is great for that. If you've not read Emily Henry yet, what are you waiting for? But no, it was kind of fun. It ended up being, I feel like, good that I waited because it was just like a nice, happy place, get it? Happy book to read in the dead of winter.
mm-hmm.
So it ended up kind of being, it just like put a smile on my face. It's a nice, pretty pink cover. I mean, don't let the title fool you though. It's not all happy and roses and whatever. And that's actually what I love about Emily Henry is she writes with such depth. So yes, she does write rom-coms. There's plenty of laughter. Her books are funny. But she also writes about a lot of like serious, subjects too. So this one was obviously, about, or it's a love story, but it's also very focused on friendship as well. So I really liked that aspect of this book. That oddly enough, or funny enough, this one kind of got mixed reviews because some people were like, oh, I didn't like the aspect of like all the friendship thrown in and stuff like that. So it's just interesting how people have different takes on things. But yeah, so I guess know that going in. This one is not like 100% focused on the love story. It's also like about love between friends. And I happened to like that. But if you're really like wanting just the lovey-dovey romance and that's what you want to focus on, then maybe this one wouldn't be for you. But I really, really enjoyed it. So, and I will sing the praises of Emily Henry all the time. She's one of my absolute favorite authors. But yeah, I do love funny story even more than this one. So I'll have to talk about that one a different time and be able to like show it to you and stuff. But
I mean, how fun are those covers?
I know they all are.
They're so
and also
vibrant.
There are people who don't like these covers. If you're one of those people, I guess I can still like you, but let me know in the comments
how vibrant
if you like these covers or you think they're cheesy, because I feel like there was somebody who posted on Instagram once about how she just doesn't like them. She's like, I hate all these like, fake, or it's just like, these no-name people, caricatures or whatever, or like just their faces, their like profiles and stuff. And I'm like, I think they're fun.
Interesting.
I'm drawn to them. These covers actually make me want to pick up the book. But that's just my take on it. And we need to get him to read Emily Henry and Abby Jimenez, by the way. I don't have one of her books to show you, but he likes all these rom-coms and stuff. So you're going to have to pick one at some point.
You got 10 minutes
because
to read first.
A ton of them.
Which one to do first? Yes.
I officially have all of I don't have Emily Henry's YA book. She has a couple of those. I think we talked about that on a previous episode, I feel like. So I'm going to want to read her YA books eventually, but I do have all of Abby Jimenez's books. So he has some choices.
Let's do it.
But anyway, talk about your next book.
All right. So my favorite rom-com so far this year that I read is one that I've talked about. It's this one, The Kindred Spirits Supper Club. This book just had a lot of things going for it. I mean, there was a ghostly element. It was kind of a cute love story, fake dating. It had a lot going for it. And it took place in Wisconsin, which was so fun. But this book, I love this book. I thought it was so good. I mean, Katie's going to read it soon. Well, someday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'll
probably read it in the fall.
You got it with...
Because doesn't this take place in the fall?
It does. It does.
Yep, I'm saving that one and a different one by her to read both of them in the fall.
That's true. After reading this book, we did buy 2 more of her books. So that's just letting you know that if you like an author, you generally will go and buy some more of their books. And I just thought it was so good.
It looks summery on the cover, to be honest, but I think you said it takes place in the fall.
It does take place in the fall.
So since my summer TBR is absolutely out of control, yeah, that'll be a fall one for me, but I am excited to read
the fall
it.
TBR. But we'll see. I mean, I'm reading some more rom-coms. We'll see if this one stays at number 1, but so far this has been my favorite one I've read this year.
Makes the screen to go dark when you do that.
I know, but it makes the book
okay
pop.
But
See
now
that?
we're like super dark. Pull it away.
The book's more important.
I was like, why does the screen look like that? I was like, because you're holding it too close to the screen. But you got a really good look at the book. So.
That was the point, yeah. You don't need to see this mug.
All right, so next I'm going to talk about Listen for the Lie. I can't remember if I've talked about this one on here or not, because, I mean, we've done quite a few videos now.
Did you do a review on that one on YouTube? That one? No.
I think I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you should go check this out
Yeah.
if you want to hear about it more in depth, because I'm not going to talk
People
your
have
ear
been
off
watching
about
the
it
review, I've
right
noticed.
now. Because we don't want this video to be insanely long. So I'll give you like a condensed version, but again, if you want a more in-depth review, go check out that video for this one. But yeah, books like this have started to become a little more popular lately. They call them like a podcast thriller. So if you're a podcast listener, this especially might interest you. Funny enough, I don't listen to podcasts. I love audiobooks, but I feel like they're similar, you know? So like a podcast is, you know, still telling a story in a sense, or you're, you know, talking about a specific subject. And I think, yeah, I should give podcasts a try because I do like audiobooks so much. But yeah, so this is a podcast thriller. So they have like a podcast element in it. So it kind of goes back and forth between like the podcast and like the main character. So like this is kind of like what the podcast page looks like. It kind of has like the title of it up at the top. Where he's like interviewing, you know, the people for this podcast. And I just love this cover too. It's pretty fun. It's like the little cord for like,
that is cool.
For like listening. But yeah, it was I think it was pretty fast paced. What was interesting about it is it was funny. I was like in the first few pages, I was like, why am I laughing and smiling? I'm like, this is supposed to be a thriller. But I just feel like this author did an incredible job of like making the main character very likable, even though she's not reliable. So if you like an unreliable narrator, this is a great book because the whole time you're like trying to figure out like, did this girl really like murder her best friend or did she not? And like, is she telling the truth? Is she not? So yeah, and then it does kind of leave you, if you like a book, I will say this, if you like a book that's like wrapped up really nicely with a bow at the end, this one might annoy you like at the end. I will just say that. Because it kind of leaves it open for interpretation. And I personally don't always love that with a book, but I let it slide because I loved the whole book I loved it as a whole so much that I was like, okay, I'll let you have that. But yeah, I've talked about this book a lot to many people and very much recommend it to thriller fans. And it was a quick read. It's not like, it's not super long. I think it had like really short chapters, which I absolutely love. It always just makes me feel like I'm reading a book faster for some reason. Even though I know that doesn't make any sense. It's like the same length as, if a book is 350 pages and it has long chapters, it's the same length as a book that has short chapters. But I don't know, it's just...
The chapter pages don't have much words on them. So.
That's true.
It does cut down.
So yeah, if you're a thriller fan, I would definitely check this one out. Her inner monologue is, I don't know, it's disturbing, but like also, like, it's like a dark humor, I guess you could say. I already talked more about it than I was going to, but that's just how much I really, really loved it. This was, I think, my favorite March read. March, yeah.
So my next book is, wait for it, nonfiction. I know I have said that I'm generally reading a nonfiction book, usually about business or finance, and this year's book so far has been The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. This was a book that I think was hyped up a lot on YouTube with a lot of the finance YouTubers I watch, and everyone talks about it, so I'm like, I had to read it. And it did not disappoint. If you're into anything relating to money, this was a great book to check out. And it really touches on how much our psychology affects finance, saving, and spending. Now, what's nice about this book is it is a book, but it is kind of a collection of about 20 short stories. So each one could be read separately. They don't all tie together. So it is nice if you want to read, throughout the year and just maybe read a short story every week or something. But I got through this one actually pretty fast because it was so fascinating. And it's just so true when you read about how much our mind affects just every aspect of our money. And it messes with you, how much you save or how much you spend really is affected by your psychology. So if you're interested in that topic at all, I know most people aren't, but I loved it.
Yeah, I might have to give it a try at some point, but I would likely do it on audio because I know I've shared before that I typically enjoy nonfiction on audio. The last book I'm going to talk about is Saturday Night at the Lakeside Supper Club. Kind of a long title, but a fun, happy yellow cover. So I ended up not reading it over the summer. I had originally planned on reading this over the summer, but I read it earlier because I stumbled upon an author event that was coming to our area. And I was like, oh, I really want to go to that. So I legit picked this up and read it in like less than a week, which isn't crazy for me by any means. I mean, that's pretty average, pretty doable for me. But it like wasn't on my like immediate radar at that point. So I was like, okay, I have to kind of like, switch gears here and focus more primarily on this one so I could get it read by the time we went to the author event for it. And I'm blanking on if I brought this up on a previous episode, so I apologize if I did. But yeah, it's J. Ryan Straddle, and he he's not a Wisconsin author, but he is from the Midwest, from Minnesota. So yeah, this takes place in Minnesota, which still felt close to home because it's just another Midwest state. And like, this is a book I probably wouldn't have picked up, honestly, like a couple years ago, because it's not fast paced. It was slower, but I just loved the story so much. So I'm trying to think of what this would fall into as far as a genre, but maybe like contemporary fiction, something like that. Or maybe I think this might actually be considered historical fiction because it does go back. I'm trying to think what year it was. Like it even goes back into the 30s. So yeah, historical fiction and maybe I don't know what else, but I really, really loved it. I just thought the story was really beautifully written and talks about a lot of family dynamics. So mother-daughter, husband-wife, friendships. And it's really fun. If you're from the Midwest, like I feel like supper clubs are just like such a thing here. So, so it's just really fun for that aspect. If you know what an old fashioned is or have ever ordered one or had one, I mean, that's definitely very Midwest. And they talk about that in here. Well, it even said it like had one on the cover.
He signed that. Well, he didn't sign that book for you. He signed a different book.
No, he didn't sign
You forgot to bring it.
I know, I was so sad. We, just like really quick story, and we should be done here because we're chatting too much, but we left for this event and I literally put this book on the counter in the kitchen so I wouldn't forget it. I still forgot it. And we were like almost to the place, and it's very close to our house. We live really close to our downtown area. But like, I'm like, we're not gonna run home for it because then we would have like been late and it was already a pretty like short event anyway. So I'm like, well, I'll just be buying one of his other books while we're here and he can sign that. And that is what we did. So I'll be excited to read that one eventually. But he has 3 books total, I think. So yeah, we'll have to go back and, well, Corey should read this one. But yeah, I want to read his other ones. But yeah, definitely check it out. I think it'd be like a good summertime read. It just looks summery to me for some reason. I mean, you could read it at any time. But
he was a cool guy too. And hearing him talk about kind of the backstory of the book, and it was pretty fascinating.
Well, he kind of wrote it. It was like kind of like in a sense, a grieving process or closure for him, like about his mom dying. Like I think she died long enough ago, and he did only write this book more recently. But I still think it was like something he had wanted to do, and it was just like a way to remember his mom, and he based one of his characters on her, and I thought that was really beautiful. And just hearing him talk about that, Yeah, so it was really cool. That was our very first
Mhm.
author event, and got to go to that together.
It was cool.
Yeah.
So I got one more book. I'm not going to talk about it too much because I just talked about it. But I'm going to show it real quick and then we're going to end this.
Very dramatic.
See that? Thrilling, just like this book. I just talked about it, so if you haven't, go back to episode 8 and watch that.
We've talked a lot about.
We just keep talking about her. I think there's a sign. But that was it. Episode 9.
Let us know what some of your favorite reads of 2024.
Yeah, we'd love to hear. We need those comments.
Yeah.
But I think we're planning to film another video
in a couple days. I think.
Couple days.
So
Episode 10.
You'll get a lot of us. These, or at least for this next one.
Episode 10 will be our big library episode.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not going to want to miss it.
Yep.
All right.
So we will see you then.
21 minutes. Not too shabby.